Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to talk about hormone therapy, breast reduction surgery, and other types of transitional therapy and surgeries that people sometimes consider. Not that I have a great deal of experience. I have no personal experience, full disclosure, but I have been with people. My girlfriend of many years in the past had breast reduction surgery, and I can speak to the experience from the male point of view, the counterpart, if it's valuable to anybody. So take it with a grain of salt, but here goes. I think that people rush into this stuff sometimes, and this is why historically there has been a lot of resistance by the medical community, by doctors, to green light such permanent therapies and permanent surgeries, because if you change your mind, there's no going back afterwards. Obviously, you've done permanent changes to yourself at that point. So the question is extremely relevant and important to answer. What are your reasons? What are your actual honest reasons? And are those reasons by themselves valid? And you may think that all reasons are valid, but it turns out there are also invalid reasons. There are reasons that are subject to change, very likely to change with time. And there's also something called health and happiness, which has nothing to do with personal preference. So if you have perhaps a psychological problem, an insecurity, that would not, as by itself, if you ask me, be enough reason to cause physical change to your body, unless there was a problem, a physical problem. So anyway, I want to talk specifically about breast reduction surgery, because I've recently heard this mentioned by one person online. I'm not going to name any names, but if they see this video, maybe it will resonate. Breast reduction surgery sounds pretty straightforward, and they will tell you it's straightforward because it's a product. It's a product that is sold by the medical community, again, cosmetic surgery. So they will sometimes try to bend the rules a little bit in your favor or against your favor. That people are seldom happy with the service they get in terms of approval, the length of time they have to wait for it, but if it does finally go through, this is what I want to say. There are things that you aren't told necessarily. That my significant other was not told about this, and I will only call her Z for short. Her name is Z in this video, and I'll tell you the whole story. Actually, Z had a traumatic experience growing up. Z was on basketball in school, and she enjoyed basketball. She was athletic. She was beautiful all her life. Before and after the surgery, mind you. But here's the thing. One day, her bra snapped, her athletic bra, because she was well endowed at some point. She had an embarrassing experience where everything came out on the court, so to speak. And it's not funny at all, actually. She was so traumatized by this experience. And I believe some ongoing things regarding her bust that she finally and eventually, much later in life, in her 30s actually, she decided that she wanted to have breast reduction surgery, because I think that she had had that experience, that traumatic experience, and she also had some bad experiences in romance, and this is usually a factor. I don't think I'm wrong about this. She had some very bad experiences with men who were largely attracted to her large bust, if you'll pardon the double use of the word large. So she psychosomatically manifested a symptom which appeared as back pain. I believe that she had no back pain, but the brain will do this. If you have enough trauma, it makes it real in your body. It manifests. It can even go as far as to become cancer sometimes, and you may dispute this. If you're a doctor, you may say, well, no, cancer has nothing to do with psychosomatic effects, but a lot of people with unprocessed trauma and lingering trauma experience bad physical health for whatever reasons. It just seems to happen, if you ask me. But so anyway, she had back pain. Whether it was real or imaginary, whether there was some other possible treatment, I couldn't say for sure, but she did go through with the surgery. She had breast reduction surgery, and it took a while to heal. It was ghastly. Okay, I want to be totally candid about this. It was ghastly. Okay, so she had size D plus before and went down to B or something like that, which is a typical reduction, and there are scars, okay? So they make incisions underneath the breast, and they do their best to make it cosmetic, right? So you can't actually see the scars. They're hidden at the crease under the breast, usually, but they're plainly visible. That you can't hide that. Okay, after a full breast reduction, there's no hiding the scars. And they also, okay, I want to be clear, they remove the nipple. Okay, not kidding. They'll probably tell you this part because they're obligated to. They actually cut the nipples off and they put them back on. They don't cut them all the way off. They cut them partly off with some tissue still connected, including nerves, blood vessels, and other connective tissue. This is part of the process of reducing the mass of the breast. So they actually cut off the nipples except for some nerves and blood vessels, and then they sew them back on. Okay. If you're still watching, hear this next part. They will tell you there's a chance. They will tell you in your interview and your pre-op orientation, they'll say there's a chance that you might experience some long-term reduction in sensitivity of the nipples. Boy howdy, my girlfriend never felt another thing in her nipples. And you know, it may seem a petty concern, but it's something, isn't it? It's not easy to talk about, maybe, and it's definitely not the centerpiece of the relationship, we hope, but it's something. It matters. It should matter, I think, if you have nipple sensitivity, in terms of being intimate, in terms of making love, in terms of just feeling normal on a regular basis. She lost complete sensation in her nipples, which made things difficult, to say the least. So anyhow, I don't think that they are candid enough. I don't think that they're transparent enough about these surgeries. And really, the ultimate question is, what is the reason? If it's based in trauma, it's not a good enough reason. You need, I think, if you ask me, if it were up to me to approve these kinds of things, these transitional therapies, you would need a physical problem, a medical, actual physical problem to go through with permanent physical changes. That's just how I feel about it. Anyhow, reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com, and be happy, be healthy. Get therapy, mental therapy if you need it, before you cut yourself up. It's just not worth it. Thank you.